Hey everybody, Nick here, and today we're going to do a little bit of disassembly and maintenance on this little guy right here. This is the Protech Magic number 2. So, first off, a couple of notes. This absolutely voids the warranty. Disassembling this knife is not a good thing according to Protech. They are very, very scared of their end users. That's unfortunate, that's ugly, but it is a fact of life. And so if you proceed down this road, well, don't expect Protech to save you. But, nonetheless, there is a role even for bravery in the face of such issues. All right, let's go ahead and find a hex bit that fits here. That one works there. And this is a tiny little hex bit in the back here. Maybe this is the trick. No. How about this little guy? All right, come on now. There we go, that works. So in the back, it appears to be a 1.3 millimeter, 0.4050 inch. Having trouble reading that. But either way, yeah, it looks like 050 or something like that. And then this back one here is 3/32. Well, I guess that's the front one. So Protech uses Allen key bits, which I can't get too bad of shape about, certainly. And then it could be that there were additional Allen key bits on the inside there, but we'll find out. I'm doing this disassembly with the blade open because it is an automatic knife and it is a backlock, and I don't want it deploying while I am in the process of disassembling this knife. So I did a disassembly already on the Protech Magic 1, to which this is a sequel, and that was actually kind of interesting. But yeah, so we'll see what this guy looks like on the inside here. Immediately, though, what we can see is the mechanism that makes it work. And actually, if I pull the pivot, that should get even easier. This looks like a very simple knife, which is great. Here we go. Pull the pivot, and then you'll be able to see, whoa there! Holy crap, that's... For being a crap ton of red Loctite, this is really not super strongly put together in there. I don't know what the heck they're doing with that, but yikes. Alrighty. But I should be able to just lift this off, and then we can see what's going on here. Interesting. So, what we have here is just a backlock knife with a spring involved in it as well. And so this is following up on the original design of the Protech Magic, which is basically that there is a backlock that is holding the knife together, and then there is a spring that works with that backlock to make the knife automatic. It looks like what goes on here. And so the way that this knife works, in the original one there was a little bolster that you slid up and that raised the backlock here. For this one, on the other hand... How is this guy working? When you slide this guy... Okay, yeah, there we go. So this screw here goes directly into this screw here. And when you... the way that you actuate this knife is that you pull down on the scale like this. And when you pull down on the scale, and it has to be kind of in this direction, what happens is that it actually uses leverage here, combined with this spring, to pop the backlock out of position. And so when the knife is closed... I really don't kind of want to do this under full spring tension to fully close it. But anyways, what you're going to see is that the knife, when it is closed, this lock bar is sitting in this channel. And then when you lift it out, then suddenly there's nothing stopping the knife from flying open on the basis of the spring that's tucked underneath there. And so as a result, the knife fires. This is a very, very simple design. And I don't mean that as like a demerit on the design in any way, shape, or form. This is a graceful design. There is not a lot to it. I mean, seriously, look at this. This is not substantially more complex than any other backlock ever, yet it is very much an automatic knife with a hidden release mechanism. This is reminding me a lot of the Protech Magic 1, which makes sense because it's by the same damn guy. But in that excellence, in that simplicity. So I really am impressed with this mechanism yet again. They've just done it a slightly different way. And then you can see it's got this little area here in the back, and this just slots into this hole here such that the handle can't lift off and come apart. Again, this is a smartly designed knife. I need to find out more about what this Whiskers guy is doing elsewhere in the knife world, because his Protech collabs are just on freaking point. But anyways, let's see if I can lift that off. Yeah, there we go. And so once I've lifted that off, we can see this is the automatic spring to it. This is what makes the knife fire automatically. It has this spring which is under some kind of a torsional force there. And then that's about the level of disassembly we need to get to here. This is, again, very straightforward. God, I like this guy's work. I mean, seriously. It's very easy to make something that is very complex, as I just throw alcohol everywhere. I'm using 91% rubbing alcohol here. But it's very easy to make a design that is very complex and will get the job done. I mean, if you have no constraint on, number of moving parts, etc., you can absolutely throw something together that will get the job done sooner or later. But doing something complicated, in this case, a side fire out the front knife with a hidden release, in a form that is very, very simple, and that is underlyingly very, very simple. It's not like, oh, we've hidden all of our complexity in one place. No, it is a real sign of genius and brilliance. I feel like I'm just sucking up to this guy or something, but it really does impress me. This is just a beautiful design. And I absolutely love the fact that this guy was able to distill down the essence of backlock, the essence of automatic, the Whiskers guy, that is, and Protech with him, and come up with something that is just really neat and also just like bone simple, because that's unusual, and that's great. A couple of things to highlight here, though, as I'm doing my disassembly. I can stop, extolling virtues for a moment here. It is a simple backlock, so you can lift this bar off if you want to. Don't really feel a strong need to here, but and there are no washes. It's just up against this DLC'd handle here. DLC is a low friction coating. I understand it, and I certainly, and you can see here that this part where the spring comes through, because this little spring here sits inside this little hole. That is, there's a little cutout for that there. So but there's nothing inside here, no washes for me to leave out, for instance, during reassembly, if you look at that, etc. I mean, this is a very simple design in that way. There's really not many moving parts to it, etc. And so if you're looking at this thinking, where are the washers? Well, these surfaces are the washers. You can see here, this area kind of just rises up to meet the blade. So I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, but I've not had one of these guys, and I'm just going to kind of apply little drops of oil to these surfaces with the hope that that will suffice in terms of lubrication. I'm also going to apply a little bit of oil to the back of the backlock here, because that will need to slide up and down on a regular basis, and you might as well let it. All right, I'm way over lubricating this knife, no doubt. I'm also, speaking of which, going to put a little bit right there, such that the backlock, the area where the backlock slides against, it's got a little love too. All righty, so any place else I can over lubricate here? Yeah, actually, there is one other place, and that is I'm going to put a little bit of a thicker oil on the blade tang here. This is just so that when the backlock is sliding along there, it's not just plain metal on metal. I'm using the slightly thicker oil, so I've been using 10-weight nano oil over here for the bulk of it. Then I'm going to use, actually there's a good argument to use a little 85 weight everywhere, but the 85 will just stay in place a little bit better. But, whatever, I'm completely and totally over lubricating the world. That's fine. Oh, interesting. So that is one weird little thing that I'm noticing here, is that this blade is asymmetrical, like the spring is taking up a substantial amount of the interior of this blade. And so you can see here, maybe, I hope, that there is actually relatively little metal at the actual pivot. It's relatively thin. If I had calipers, I'd tell you how thick, but, I mean, it's the majority of the inside of this is taken up by spring. I get that they need a fair amount of spring in order to get this guy into position here. But okay, we're going to now put this guy back together, and here's going to be my strategy. So this little guy right here, this little protuberance needs to land into here. That's what loads the spring, basically. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it into there. And then I'm going to, with it stuck in that little place, kind of rotate the knife and get it into position and drop it onto the pivot there. Good. So now we have the spring in position, which will prevent this guy from, well, unspringing itself, which is good. And then we can actually test the knife's action a little bit here. But because I'm pretty confident in the way that I've done things here, I'm going to go ahead and put things back together as a result. This may be famous last words, like, guys, I'm super confident here. But nonetheless, because I don't want to try and fire it with everything not fully put back together, because that's just not a recipe for safety. And I do try and be occasionally safe. All right. Okay, I'm going to see if I can clean any more of the red devil off of this freaking pivot here. Not that it matters anymore. I don't know how they managed to use this much red Loctite. Maybe it's some other compound that happens to be red, but isn't actually. It's like blue thread locker made in a communist country or something. I don't freaking know. That's a joke, by the way. I have no indication. But I'm going to put a little bit of blue thread locker on top of the red here. And I am going to use the thread locker just so that I get things dialed in. One thing I forgot to mention at the start of this is that this has the slightest bit of up and down play. Side-to-side blade play. And that's unfortunately not a unique experience for me with Protech. The last Magic I had the same issue. Where it was clear that it just wasn't quite put together perfectly. And so it was just a question of adjusting things a little bit. But this is a reason why, if they're going to have a warranty policy that's hostile to disassembly, you need to put things together perfectly the very first time. Because it's not fair to make something that should be your job, our job, and then not let us fix it. But whatever. Okay, I don't know what the tension is like here, but I'm going to go ahead and slide the scale down. Beautiful. Everything is popped into place. Oh, that is nicer. A little smoother, too. I feel like this is crying out for a little bit of lubrication. Because it didn't make that noise prior. Oh, the other issue that could be is here. Hashtag overlubricated. There we go. Beautiful. All right. No play. Either direction. Actually, there is the very slightest bit of vertical play here. That could just be a little bit of... like a little bit of backlock. Because with a backlock, this needs to be very precisely ground. Maybe it's just slightly off there. It's not like enough that I'm actually concerned. It's like, I mean, can you see it? Just barely. But it is there. That's not great, but it is a thing. Centering's solid. There we go. And it deploys reliably. No side-to-side play. Let's throw a little bit here. Whee. All right, we're good to go. Whoa, it's magic, you know. Beautiful. Alrighty, hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.